This is Meet Sean, where we break down real life topics insurance, annuities, real estate, travel planning, and home ownership so you can make smarter moves. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
You know that specific feeling? It usually hits me about 3 weeks before a big trip.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sitting at the kitchen table. It's like 11 p.m. and I have 17 browser tabs open.
17 is conservative.
Right. One is a flight site that keeps timing out. One's a hotel review from 2019 that casually mentions bed bugs. And another is my bank account, which is just staring at me.
Judgment. I know that stare.
Exactly. And I just sit there thinking, why am I doing this to myself?
It's the moment the dream collides with the logistics. It's brutal.
It is. We spent all this time fantasizing about the perfect getaway, the pristine beaches, the kids actually smiling at each other for once.
The food.
Oh, the food. But the actual mechanism of making it happen, the operational side, it's often one of the most stressful challenges a family or a couple can go through.
That is the ultimate irony of modern leisure, isn't it?
Yeah.
We work so hard for the money and the time off to relax. And then we work even harder and stress even more just trying to organize it. People joke that you need a vacation to recover from planning the vacation.
They're not joking. It's the paradox of vacation.
Yeah.
And that is exactly why I wanted to do this deep dive today.
Look.
We aren't just looking at generic travel tips. We are doing a deep dive into a guide called Stress-Free Vacation Planning, the no-drama checklist for families and couples by Carter. And I have to say, the no-drama part is doing a lot of heavy lifting for me right now.
It is a compelling promise. But what's fascinating about this source is that it treats planning less like a shopping list and more like a strategic operation.
A strategic operation?
Yeah, the core thesis is really interesting. It says that taking a relaxed approach to planning isn't about being lazy or disengaged. It's actually highly strategic.
Strategic laziness. I feel like I've been training for this my whole life. But okay, unpack that. How is being relaxed about a complex trip strategic?
Well, think about where the stress comes from. It's from trying to control every single variable.
Right. You're trying to force reality to match a brochure.
Exactly. Carter suggests that a relaxed approach is about building a framework, a kind of safety net that minimizes conflict and maximizes your presence. If you do the heavy lifting correctly on the front end, you don't have to make these high-stakes decisions during the trip. You've basically engineered the stress out of the system.
So you can just be there.
You can just be there.
I love that. It reminds me of the quote the author uses at the start, Lao Tzu. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Although, in my experience, that first step usually feels like a very expensive step involving TSA, pre-check, and lost luggage.
It certainly can feel that way.
Yeah.
But according to our source, the first step isn't booking the flight. It isn't even picking the destination.
What is it then?
It's looking backward. Carter recommends doing a post-mortem on your past trips.
A post-mortem. That sounds a little morbid for a holiday discussion.
It does, but it's a business term that applies perfectly here. Think about it. We usually come home, dump the laundry, and just say, well, that was nice, or that was a nightmare, and then we repress it.
Yeah, you get what they call rosy retrospection. You forget the bad parts.
Exactly. Carter says no. Sit down with your partner, your family, and honestly assess the data. What actually worked? What failed?
So getting really granular about the friction points.
Precisely. Maybe the hotel was stunning on Instagram, but it was 3 miles from anything, and you spent half your budget on Ubers. That's a data point.
Right.
Maybe you tried to do 3 museums in one day, and everyone had a meltdown in the cafeteria.
Oh, I've been there. The low blood sugar meltdown is real. I remember booking a charming rustic cabin once.
Oh, boy.
In my head, it was all poetic. In reality, rustic meant no air conditioning and spiders the size of my hand.
That is the perfect example.
Yeah.
If you don't acknowledge that friction point, we need climate control, you're going to make the same mistake again, seduced by the photos.
So the postmortem forces you to define the experience you actually want.
Before you ever touch the logistics.
Which leads right into the vibe check. The source makes a really big deal about deciding the type of trip early on.
Which is a huge source of conflict. One person hears vacation and thinks adventure escapade, hiking, diving, 6 a.m. wake-up calls.
And the other person hears vacation and thinks serene beach, sleeping till noon, reading a book.
Barely moving. If you don't align on that vibe first, you're essentially planning 2 different trips in the same itinerary.
And that is a recipe for an argument in the hotel lobby. Okay, so step 1, define the mission. Step 2, unfortunately, is funding it. We have to talk about money.
the root of all travel anxiety.
It is. But I actually found the budget section in this guide strangely reassuring. It sort of breaks the scary monster of cost down into pieces you can actually fight.
It does. The source emphasizes a strict categorization. Needs versus wants.
Sounds basic.
It does, but in the heat of booking, we lump it all together. I need a flight and I want a seat upgrade, just get merged in our brains.
That's true.
But where the guide really adds value is on the hidden costs.
The budget killers.
Yes, the things that aren't on the sticker price. Carter explicitly highlights stuff like Wi-Fi fees, resort fees, baggage fees.
Oh, baggage fees are the worst.
And those sneaky late checkout charges. It's death by 1,000 cuts. If you budget $3,000 but ignore these, you're actually spending $3,500. And that $500 variance is where the stress lives.
Okay, let's put some hard numbers down for people listening. The guide gives some estimated benchmarks. Obviously, these are a moving target, but they give us a baseline.
Sure.
For transportation, the estimate is $500 to $1,000.
Which is a wide range, but realistic.
Huh.
A family of 4 flying internationally, that number obviously jumps.
Right.
But if you're driving or you book way in advance, you can hit that lower end. Booking early is the easiest lever to pull.
Okay, then for accommodation, the benchmark is $800 to $1,500. And they make an interesting point about all-inclusive resorts.
Yeah, that sometimes the sticker price looks higher, but the value is actually better.
Exactly. Why is that?
It connects back to stress reduction. If you pay $1,500 up front for an all-inclusive, you stop doing mental math. Every time your kid asks for a soda or you want a second appetizer, you're not calculating the cost. You've already paid. That mental freedom has real value.
That is a really good point. You're not reaching for your wallet every 45 minutes.
No.
And then for food and dining, they estimate $300 to $600, so you can see where to squeeze. Maybe you eat cheap street food so you can afford the nicer hotel.
Exactly. It grounds the fantasy in reality. So once you have the budget and the goal, say a relaxing beach trip for $3,000, now you can actually pick a place.
Which the guide calls choosing the battlefield. A bit intense, but picking a place can feel like a battle with multiple opinions.
Well, it's about matching the destination to that vibe check we did earlier. The guide gives some solid archetypes. For families, they lean into the classics: Orlando, San Diego.
Why those specifically? I mean, beyond just Disney is there.
It's about friction. Orlando and San Diego are cities built for visitors. The infrastructure is there.
You don't have to invent the fun.
You don't. The fun is built into the city. There are sidewalks, shuttles, kid-friendly menus everywhere. If you take a family of 4 to a remote village, you're responsible for 100% of the logistics. In Orlando, the logistics are a service you buy.
That makes so much sense. You're outsourcing the entertainment. But then for couples, the vibe shifts completely. The guide pivots to places like Paris or Santorini.
Because for couples, the goal isn't high stimulation, it's high atmosphere. You want an environment that facilitates connection.
A cruise down the Seine, the views in Santorini.
It's less about what are we doing at 2 p.m. and more about where are we just existing together.
Right. You don't need a water park. You need a view and a bottle of wine.
Precisely. And that distinction bleeds right into how you pick where you sleep. The accommodation vetting section was really eye-opening.
It's not just about finding a nice room.
No, it's about the amenities matching the mission. For a family, the source says to look for keywords like kids' clubs, water parks.
Kitchenette.
The kitchenette is a game changer for families. Being able to make cereal in the room saves you an hour of morning chaos and $50.
100%. But for couples, you're looking for adults-only, boutique, privacy. But here's the tip I think is gold for everyone, the review audit. I feel like most people just see 4.2 stars and think, looks good, and book it.
Which is an amateur move. A 4-star hotel might be 4 stars because the lobby is magnificent, but the walls could be paper thin.
Yeah.
The expert advice here is to use the search bar in the reviews. You're auditing for your specific deal breakers.
I always search for noise and Wi-Fi. If I see thin walls 3 times, I don't care if it's a palace, I'm out.
Exactly. The guide suggests searching cleanliness, customer service, and amenities. You're looking for patterns. If one person complains about a rude receptionist, that's bad luck. If 10 people complain, that's a culture problem.
Okay, so we have the place, the budget, the non-bedbug audited hotel. Now we have to figure out what we're actually doing. And this brings us to the art of the flexible itinerary.
This is where most people fail. They fall into the trap of maximization.
We are in Rome, so we must see everything in Rome.
Right. The scarcity mindset. We might never be here again, so let's book something for every hour. The source calls this overpacking the schedule. You end up sprinting through the Louvre just to see the Mona Lisa for 3 seconds.
You're not experiencing it, you're just checking a box, and everyone is exhausted and cranky.
So what's the alternative?
The sweet spot. A balance. But the critical concept here is buffer time.
Buffer time. Sounds like something my computer needs.
It's similar. It's processing time for your brain. It's intentionally empty space in the schedule. The guide uses a great example. You're walking to a museum and stumble on a local street market. If your schedule is packed to the minute, you have to walk right past it.
That's tragic.
It's a missed opportunity. Buffer time gives you the freedom to say, let's stop. That's where the best memories happen.
In the unplanned moments you had time to say yes to.
The guide also suggests a simple flow for realistic goals. One big thing, then chill.
Yes. Manage your energy like a battery, hit the local attraction during the day, but then let the evening be leisure with the hotel or a slow dinner. Don't try to do a day tour and a night show. You will crash.
Speaking of managing people, let's talk about the vacation committee. This was my favorite tip for families.
It's a brilliant psychological trick. The Family Vacation Committee is where you let the kids research and pick activities.
So we're handing the reins to the 6-year-old. That's dangerous.
Within reason. But think about the buy-in. If a child chooses the activity, say the San Diego Zoo over the beach, they're psychologically committed to enjoying it.
So they're less likely to complain about the walking or the heat because they chose it.
They own that decision. The narrative shifts from mom and dad dragged me here to I'm leading this expedition.
That is so smart.
Plus, there's an educational angle. It teaches decision-making. You can even give them a small budget, say $50, and say, you manage this.
And if they spend it all on a giant gummy bear on day one...
That is a low-stakes financial literacy lesson.
I love that. Now, for the couples listening, we probably don't need a formal committee. But the source does talk about the romance angle, and thankfully, it moves beyond just buy red roses.
It focuses on surprise and delight. The element of surprise is powerful because it signals effort.
Sure.
Booking a spa day your partner didn't know about, or finding a restaurant with a view they'd love. It shows forethought. That's what's romantic.
And there's a specific suggestion I thought was really sweet. Creating a playlist.
Yes, a playlist of your favorite songs for the trip. Auditory memory is incredibly strong. Years later, hearing those songs will trigger the memory of that trip much faster than a photo.
The guide shares a lovely sentiment here. The best love is the kind that awakens the soul and makes us reach for more.
A beautiful thought to anchor a trip around. It elevates it from time off work to relationship building.
Absolutely. Now let's pivot from the soul awakening love to zippers and cables. The logistics of no drama.
Logistics are the foundation. If you forget the phone chargers and you're arguing in the airport, the soul awakening gets pretty difficult.
So true. For couples, the advice is coordinating wardrobes, which, I have to admit, sounds a little obsessive.
It's not about matching outfits. It's about efficiency. If you stick to a color scheme, say neutrals and blues, you can share items, share toiletries, and save a ton of space.
And packing cubes. I have recently joined this cult. It changes your life.
It organizes the chaos. Instead of your suitcase exploding every time you need socks, everything is in its own module.
Now for families, the lifesavers list is different. It's about survival. A tablet loaded with shows.
Essential.
Layers for changing weather, and the big one, a first aid kit.
Do not skip this. Band-Aids, antiseptic wipes, pain relievers. Buying Tylenol in a foreign country where you don't speak the language is a high-stress scenario. Be your own pharmacy.
100%. And on the tech front, the source highlights apps like TripIt and Google Trips.
Those are great for consolidating. They scrape your email and put all your confirmations in one timeline. No more panic searching your inbox at the check-in counter.
Right.
But for families, they also mention safety apps like Family Locator.
Peace of mind tools.
Exactly. However, there is a massive however regarding tech in this guide.
Yes, the expert warning. Social media boundaries.
The source explicitly warns about performing the vacation rather than living it.
If you're spending the entire sunset trying to get the perfect Instagram story, you aren't actually seeing the sunset, you're seeing your screen.
Which goes back to the core philosophy.
Yeah.
Maximize presence. Be where your feet are. If the phone is getting in the way, it needs to go in the safe.
All right, home stretch. Health, safety, and communication. And honestly, the communication part seems like the most important safety tip of all.
It's the preventative medicine for arguments. The guide emphasizes managing expectations. You have to discuss preferences before the trip.
This goes back to the vibe check.
It does, but deeper. If one person expects to sleep till noon and the other expects to be hiking at 6 a.m., you have a conflict.
Yeah.
If you don't talk about that beforehand, you will have a fight in the hotel room on day 2.
And then there's the literal safety stuff. Researching health advisories, locking doors, using the safe.
And the guide specifically mentions not displaying signs of wealth. Expensive jewelry, flashy watches. It's about blending in. If you look like a walking target, you have to be on high alert. If you blend in, you can actually relax.
Okay, so let's fast forward. The trip's over, we're home, the suitcases are still on the floor, but the guide says we aren't done yet.
There is a post-trip ritual. This brings us full circle to the post-mortem we started with. It's not just about unpacking dirty laundry. It's about unpacking the memories while they're fresh.
So you sit down at dinner and ask, what was the best part? What was the worst part?
Exactly. We loved the beach, but the drive was too long. You capture those insights now.
And you use that data to plan the next one. The cycle continues.
It keeps the excitement alive. It stops the post-vacation blues because you immediately have a new horizon to look toward.
I love that. You know, we've covered a lot of ground here, from budgeting to family committees. But as we wrap up, what's the one thing you really want our listener to walk away with?
I think it comes back to that final thought in the source material. We obsess over the logistics, the flights, the hotels, the costs. But the ultimate goal of all this planning isn't just the smooth itinerary. It's about clearing the mental clutter.
Creating space.
Exactly. And in that space, you can actually experience what the guide calls the biggest adventure, what lies ahead. You can't have the adventure if your brain is stuck on the baggage fees.
That is such a great perspective. The planning is the price we pay for the freedom to enjoy the moment.
That's it.
Well, I am suddenly very motivated to go plan a trip and maybe a little motivated to organize my packing cubes.
Start with a committee meeting. Get the buy-in.
I will. I'll get the clipboard ready. Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into stress-free travel. Hopefully, your next trip has a little less drama and a lot more adventure.
Safe travels, everyone.
See you next time.
That's it for today's Meet Sean. If this helped, follow the show and share this episode with one person who needs it. See you next time.